Welcome back to our Samhain Halloween countdown for Witch Daily. Today we are going to share a Colcannon recipe with you. Now Colcannon is an old Irish, it's not old, but it's an Irish meal. I've added a little American spin to it, so typically Colcannon is made with cabbage and potatoes. And I add a little cauliflower to mine. And mix it all up, and it's really, really yummy. It's really good. You get just enough of the starch with also lots of fresh vegetables. So with having both the cabbage and the cauliflower, you get a lot. There is a lot of butter in it, so it's also, kind of yummy as well. And the reason that I included the Colcannon recipe is so that you can prepare for the next episode we're going to talk about is the mute supper. So the Colcannon is one of the things that you can serve for a mute supper, and because all the food on the table for a mute supper has to be black or white, and Colcannon typically comes out mostly looking pretty white. So we're going to talk about Colcannon today. You're going to get my personal recipe, and you're going to get a little demonstration of how to make it, and I hope you enjoy it. It is delicious. It's such a great, yummy thing to eat for fall, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at Marianne@WitchDaily or just witchdailymedia@gmail.com, and I hope you enjoy the Colcannon. All right, so for your ingredients, you're going to need 5 pounds of red potatoes. So red potatoes are important because red potatoes, when you make mashed potatoes, make much better mashed potatoes than other potatoes. So if you are normally a fan of golden potatoes or russet potatoes, see if you can get your hands on 5 pounds of red potatoes, because the mashed potatoes are going to be much smoother. We want 1 to 2 heads of green cabbage, and the reason it's 1 to 2 is sometimes, depending on the time of year, the cabbage can be kind of small. So if the heads of cabbage are small, you want 2. Same thing with the cauliflower. If it's not a big head of cauliflower, you want 2 small heads of cauliflower. 1 yellow or white onion, 2 sticks of butter, 2 cups of milk. I like to use whole milk. It makes the mashed potatoes much more yummy. And then you're going to salt and pepper to taste. So when you get to the red potatoes, what you want to do is you want to peel them, right? So you want to make sure you peel them, and you want to take the eyes out. Since we're making this for mute supper, everything's got to be black and white. And as my mom used to say, you want pretty potatoes. You're going to cube the potatoes, and that's how you're going to boil them. So when you cube them, you want them to be about 1 to 2 inches. You don't really want them smaller than that or bigger than that. Bigger, they take too long to cook, and smaller, they get gummy. So you want to take apart your fresh cauliflower. You're going to use fresh butter. I'm having to saw the butter here because it's frozen. So bear with me. So you're going to put the veggies on a tray and put them in foil to roast them. And you're going to stack them up inside the foil, and eventually you're going to close the foil top. Right. I use a pretty big tray, a big cookie sheet, and then I'm going to put the butter and the onions in there with the veggies, and just close it up real tight. Make sure that a little air can get out, but you're going to cook that for about an hour in the oven at 400 degrees. For the mashed potatoes, you will have boiled the potatoes, and it's really important that you mash the potatoes when they're still hot. You can see that the smoke, steam is coming out of my mixer. That's because the potatoes have just come off the boil. And I put in the butter first and mash them with the butter, and then add the milk as I go. I didn't wind up using a whole 2 cups of milk. Then once the veggies are roasted, you're going to take some out and you're going to chop them up. Not too fine, but chop them enough to where you can mix them in with the Colcannon, because you're going to mix them in with the mashed potatoes. So you want to chop them up at least enough, and then put a layer of mashed potatoes in the bottom of the bowl, then put some of the veggies on top of that, and then you're going to fold them together with some more potatoes. You're going to do that in layers. Just keep doing that until you're done with your mashed potatoes and your veggies, and then you'll have yummy, yummy Colcannon, and it will be delicious, and you'll want to eat that all the time this fall. All right, now you have my Colcannon recipe. Hopefully you find it delicious. A couple of notes about the Colcannon. So the first thing is, when you make the Colcannon, you definitely want to roast the vegetables. You can put a tiny bit of water, depends on in the pan, depends on where you live and how dry the area is. I live in a very dry place, and it's just, the vegetables have enough moisture in them to roast properly as long as you cover them. You don't want to boil the vegetables and then put them in the mashed potatoes, because the boiled vegetables tend to retain a lot of the water from the boil, and then that water gets into the mashed potatoes, makes the mashed potatoes runny. It's not yummy at all. So you don't want runny Colcannon with the juice from the cauliflower and the cabbages. Just kind of gross. So make sure to roast your vegetables if you can. Some people, now my grandmother was one of these people, some people like to take the Colcannon after you mix it together and put it in the oven for a little bit, so you bake the top of the potatoes and it gets a little brown. And you put a little butter on top to kind of make it really yummy. You can do that if you want to. I don't actually like it very much because I think it dries out the potatoes, but if that's your preference, you can certainly do that. Remember, you're going to salt and pepper to taste. This is a great dish for the mute supper, which we're going to talk about in tomorrow's video. If you are enjoying these videos, please let us know. Also, feel free to share them with people. And if you're just learning about them, you can get a daily subscription to our Countdown to Halloween, Countdown to Samhain videos. All you have to do is sign up at witchdaily.com, and we will take care of that for you, and you get these every day in your inbox, so you can have a wonderful witchy season as you get closer to Halloween. So we hope that you are enjoying this, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow. We're going to talk about mute supper tomorrow. Enjoy.